Shalom, this is Josh from F.F.R. and today we are going to go over gun safety. So if you are a first-time gun owner or you are a felon who has recently got your 2A rights restored, you want to listen up. All right, so it's only 4 rules of gun safety, and I'm going to try to get through them as quick as possible, but I want to explain a couple things so you fully understand. All right, so the first rule of the 4 safety rules is always assume when you come in contact with a firearm that this firearm is loaded. So what can you do to assure and give yourself some peace and understanding that this firearm is cleared or unloaded? I'm going to show you. So first, you got something here called a mag release button. Hit that button. Bam. Magazine pops out with all your ammunition. Are you clear yet? No, you're not. There's another step to this. So the slide, you want to rack it and make sure there's nothing in the slide. You can see all the way through. Put your finger in there if you need to. Visually inspect the barrel inside just to make sure that it's clear. Okay, that's number 1. So you always assume that when you come around firearms, dealing with them or just being around them, that they are loaded. How do you clear them? Drop the mag and you rack the slide to make sure it's clear. That's rule number 1. Number 2, it's called trigger discipline. You always keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to fire. Okay, trigger discipline is just good habits. Just keeping your finger off the trigger. When you're at the range or around people with firearms, people want to see all the way through that trigger hole. That's how they know that they're safe. Why? Because this finger is not on there. All right, it's just building good habits of keeping your finger off the trigger. Which brings us to number 3. Never point this firearm at anything unless you're ready for it to be destroyed. So number 2 is keep your finger off the trigger. Number 3 is don't point the firearm at anything that you don't want destroyed. Okay, pretty simple. Assume it's loaded. Number 1, assume it's loaded. Number 2, finger off the trigger. Good trigger discipline. Number 3, never point this thing at anything unless you want it to be destroyed. So that brings us to number 4. Okay, and the last safety rule is know your target and what's behind your target. Why? Because you are responsible for every bullet that leaves your gun. All right. Let's say you're in a public place and you're getting into an altercation with somebody and you feel like you're going to have to be defensive with your firearm. You need to use some good judgment. You need to be aware of your surroundings because you might be ready to deal with your opposition, but you got to understand you're in a place where if you shoot him and let's say you put shots on him, they could go through him and hit somebody behind, hit a kid, hit a person in a car, somebody walking. Let's say you're in an altercation in a building. If you're in an apartment building, a school, a grocery store, mall, you have to understand where you are because this bullet doesn't just stop when it hits one person. If you got a high caliber round, that thing is going to keep on traveling. And by law, you are responsible for every bullet that leaves your gun, regardless if you hit the bad guy or not. So just be aware of that when you have your firearm and you're out in public. So we're going to go over the 4 rules one more time. Number 1, assume your firearm is always loaded. How you do that? How you make sure it's clear? Drop the mag, rack the slide, visually inspect. Number 2, build good habits with trigger discipline. Always handling the gun with finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. Number 3, never point this firearm at anything or anybody until you're ready to shoot because it's going to destroy what it hits. So if you're at the range, you want to keep it downrange or point it down or in your holster. All right. So that's 3. So number 4, understand your target and beyond your target. So yeah, that's pretty simple. 4 gun safety rules. Know these things. They will keep you safe and alive, and they will keep your peers and your community safe and alive when you're dealing with firearms. Yeah, thank you for your time. And if this was helpful, hey, tag somebody, share, like. Also, if you're new to F.F.R, no, I got a book, man. If you're in the state of Virginia and you're a felon or you had your gun rights taken away for any issue, hey, man, link in the bio. There's a book, step by step. Do it yourself, man. Get your gun rights restored in Virginia, man. Yeah, gun safety, F.F.R, man. Stay blessed and stay strapped.